Whether you know it or not, or whether you even want to know it or not, you're vibrational beings. And you are, in this physical format, extensions of an eternal consciousness, a source energy point of view that has expressly presented itself here into this physical experience. So you began as source energy, but you remain as source energy even though you are here focused in this physical body. Most people, you're a little different than most people, don't get that. Most people don't get that. Most people think that they were non-physical. They call it soul or angel or I came from heaven and here I am, but I'm here now, not there. And that's not true. You are source energy always. And that source energy is focused here in this physical body. And we want you to know that in you coming into this body, you didn't come without the larger part of you. The larger part of you came too. The larger part of you is present here in this time-space reality. The larger part of you is here now. And to the degree that you are in sync vibrationally, then you get the full representation of who you are. So how do you feel in a moment when the fullness of who you are is being allowed by you, when you realize that you are source energy in these physical bodies and that the source energy part of you is always here with you, to the degree that you allow it through the syncing of the vibration, you have a fuller experience. In other words, how would you know when you're allowing the fullness of who you are to flow? You feel really good. You feel frisky. You feel clear-minded. You feel flexible. You feel intelligence. You feel all-knowingness. You feel intuitiveness. You feel harmony. You feel love. You feel appreciation. You feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You feel the fullness of who you are. And when you pinch it off, and it's easy to do because it's easy to get out of sync with source. All you have to do is get mad at somebody. You're out of sync with source. All you have to do is not like yourself a little. You're out of sync with source. All you have to do is nitpick over some unimportant thing and make something that isn't important important. In other words, as you focus lackfully, you're always out of sync with source. As you focus critically, you're always out of sync with source. So what's up with source? Does source have no discerning ability? Is source just blinded by love? Pretty much. Does source always need to find the positive aspects? Can source not be objective enough to see that something is screwy with that? Well, it isn't that source doesn't see the screwiness. It's just that source accepts the screwiness as not wrong, as not threatening. Source sees the variety in contrast. Source just, and you may want to write this down because it is profound beyond profound. Source just doesn't freak out. Source doesn't find unimportant things and use it as the excuse to pinch itself off from the source of source. And when you reach that place where you really get it, that everything is all right, and that every contrasting experience is just right in its providing desire. Do you accept that you are eternal beings? Oh yeah, blah, 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 Abraham. Yeah, we're eternal. Eternal, eternal, eternal. We're eternal. We get it. We're eternal. Eternal, 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 eternal. But do you get it that you are eternal beings? Oh yeah, we get it, Abraham. We're eternal. We're eternal, eternal, eternal. I want to talk about my car, please. Those people at work are really getting to me, Abraham. Can we talk about that? Something a little less eternal. But the reason that we want you to know that you are eternal is because you, in your eternalness, are so at one with this variety in which you are focused, because you know that the variety in which you are focused is giving birth to new preferences, and that's a big deal to an eternal being. Because if you're eternal, you need new ideas. If you're eternal, there must be something new to call you forward. And if there's not something new to call you forward, then you can't be eternal. And you can't have it both ways. You can't be eternal and not be eternal. You're eternal. We're just trying to make you accept the fact that there will always be variety that will always cause you to ask for something more. So when you make peace with the variety that is causing your expansion, as the source within you has made peace with the variety that is causing your expansion, then you'll be like source and you won't freak out either in the contrast. Instead, you will accept the contrast as a wonderful, life-giving, life-promoting, eternally promoting thing, you see. We never step out of the vortex in order to focus with anyone about anything that they don't want. That's not our job. Our job is step 2 of the process of creation. Step 1, that's your job, but it's not something you have to work very hard at. Life just brings it to you. Contrast causes you to know what you don't want, to know what you do want. So you're launching rockets all day, every day. Step 2, that's our job. Source energy, inner being, non-physical. We stand in the vibrational frequency of the furthest launch that you have offered. And we stand in vibrational alignment with the total package of that which you have expanded to. Through all that you've been living, that's where your inner being, that's where that which you call God stands. In utter knowing of who you are. Step 3 is your job, and it's what the art of allowing is all about. Step 3 is you got to find somehow, some way, thought by thought, subject by subject, day by day, moment by moment, to be in vibrational alignment with who you've become. And if you succeed at it, or if you're sort of succeeding at it, you thrive. You have tears of appreciation running down your face. If you don't accomplish it, then you have something less than that. But it's always there as guidance letting you know. Well, that's as clearly as we've ever spoken it, and you've received it as well as any group of non-believers could it. Well, you see, you don't believe in your vortex in the way we do, because we're standing in it as the vibrational essence of it, and we have full knowledge of all that you've become. So as we stand in full knowledge of all that you've become, we don't fret for a moment about where you stand in the absence of anything you want, because we know it's only a vibration away. You say, oh, it's not just a vibration away, it's a manifestation away. It could be years. And we say, only if you're diligent about poking around where you are. In other words, there could be an instant manifestation. You could be vibrationally up to speed with who you really are now, because who you really are is a done deal. Vibrationally speaking, it's done. But you mostly don't do that because we love you very much. You are so hung up on what is. You've gotten so used to focusing your eyes and ears and fingertips and your nose and your tongue. You are so good at interpreting your physical life through your sensual senses that you are not as practiced at enjoying the vortex, because in the beginning, the vortex isn't vivid to you like real life manifestation is. Look around this beautiful room. Ooh, cool. Look around this beautiful room. In other words, there is so much to enjoy in an environment like this. You get to hear this beautiful voice, infinite intelligence, letting you know who you really are. How delicious is that, to hear that moving through the vibration of your eardrum and get to feel the fullness. You get to see one another in this beautiful room. You were out in the freeways and moving through the city. In other words, physical life experience in all of its manifested glory is so intoxicatingly attractive because you are interpreting it with so many of your senses. And we get it that when you come to a gathering where this man calls his wife Abraham, and she must be a sort of split personality because she refers to herself as we, points at the floor, insists it's a vortex, and tells you to get in it. In other words, there's a vortex. There's a vortex where who you really are is, and we know you look over there and you don't really see the vortex. Because it's a concept that we are painting for you, but it's a reality that you can vibrationally translate into immediate emotion. In other words, when you're in the vortex, you feel clear. When you're in the vortex, clarity is your experience. When you're in the vortex, you feel vital and alive. You feel love. Appreciation and passion are pouring through you when you're in the vortex. In other words, the vortex is a feeling place. It's a confirming place of the wholeness of all that you are. And if you like that feeling enough, that you're willing to give up some of the reality that's more vivid, like car crashes and roadkill. Well, we're just kidding, because we know there are a lot of things that are beautiful in your world, but there are some things in your world that aren't so beautiful that you still look at because you feel compelled to look at anything that is manifested because it is reality, and you think that because it is reality that it deserves your attention. And we say some of it does, but some of it doesn't. Don't let the fact that it's reality be the compelling reason that you're looking there instead of feeling your way into the vortex. And as you make the decision that you're going to spend less time focused upon what is, especially if some of what is isn't pleasing to you. And you know, it's funny. You don't just focus upon what is. You focus upon your imagination of what is going to become that you're not going to like even more. In other words, oh, it's bad now, but it could be so much worse. And so we just want to bring your attention to the fact that you're really good at the what isness, and even at using your imagination about the negative what isness. Why not use your desire to feel good as your reason to feel your way into the vortex? And then, so what begins to happen is that you come to a gathering like this and you listen to us, and in many cases you trust us. We have a good reputation for telling you what's really going on vibrationally, and many people are benefiting and speaking about how much better their lives are. But really, friends, when it comes right down to it, words don't teach, and that's all we've got for you. Confirming words about what you are doing in terms of deliberate creation. And we can tell you all day, every day, who you are, that you were source energy, that you came forth into this physical experience, that the larger part of you remains non-physical, while this part of you that's in your personality that has come forth into this physical body. And as you explore and know what you don't want, you launch these rockets of desire, and the source within you holds to those rockets and holds steady the light, calling you eternally toward vibrational alignment with who you are. And when you move in the direction of it, you feel wonderful. And when you hold out and don't move, you don't feel so good. In other words, we're giving this to you all day, every day. But until you actually deliberately conjure a thought, deliberately go general from specifically negative, and feel the relief of it, and then witness with your own experience the manifestational difference between the specific negative that you were feeling and the general negative that you're feeling, until you've convinced yourself that a general feeling of negativity nets different vibrational manifestations around you, and then because you're on a roll, you go generally positive, and then you witness the improvement in what happens not tomorrow, not theoretically, not conceptually, not someday, not to somebody else, but to you right away. To you right away. To you right away. You'll begin to notice that everyone and everything around you is responding to the vibrational frequency that you are outputting. And when you get a whiff of that, when you begin to notice the hands-on manifestational effect, manifesting. What does that mean? That means what happens to you. It means who walks into the room and talks to you. It means what part of themselves they give to you. If somebody walks in and gives to you their ornery self, that's a manifestation of where your frequency is set right now. You say, oh, God, that guy is ornery. And we say, takes one to know one. It's active in your vibration, and it's a manifestation that's reflecting that back to you. That person was so much fun, takes one to know one. Things are going so well for me, takes one to know one. In other words, your frequency, how you feel, what's going on with you, is in your utter control. In the moment that you get it, that you don't have to respond to a current condition. You can conjure an emotion because you have the ability to go from specifically negative to generally negative to generally positive to specifically positive. And the manifestations will show you all day, every day, how well you are doing. Nice to know, isn't it? We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. There is nothing off limits. There is no order of business in the sense that you don't need to orchestrate it. But there is an order of business in the sense that this gathering has gathered before you dragged your physical bodies here. In other words, you got this vortex going on, and we've been hanging around in it, and we know who you really are and what you really want. And so, as we're moving forward today, it is our knowing, and we want it to be your expectation, that whatever you've been pondering, whatever you've been focused upon, whatever it is you want to know, no matter how specifically you want to know it or how generally you've been focused upon it, to the degree